Welcome back. We are covering number 14 of 25 inspirational stories to encourage you in your business journey. I want to encourage you to keep fighting off apathy and discouragement and all the negative things that come along with doing anything in life, right? Nobody's immune to it. Maybe there's some of those, folks that just find everything just kind of comes easy to them. And we all know those folks, right? And I am not one of those folks. I have a son who's one of those folks who, things just come easy to him. And, everyone loves him. And I have some friends who are like that, right? And it's okay. Because again, here's what I'm going to tell you. I think that folks who have to work for it, like myself and you maybe, appreciate it a little bit more, right? And appreciate it because of the grind that's involved there and not having instant success and not having things just kind of given to us, easily, right? And so, again, all the stories that I'm covering here in the series are meant to encourage you, and a lot of those stories are people who are a little bit older, and longer in the tooth, myself included. I haven't found my success yet. But I'm not stopping. Again, I mention this every time, but started out these YouTube channels that I'm starting. I have the Small Biz Shout Out here, and then Free Advice from Your Uncle. And Small Biz Shout Out, at the start of this series had 6 subscribers. We now have 10. So thank you very much. Appreciate it, and appreciate you sharing the content. And then, Free Advice from Your Uncle now has 36. I think we were at 33, 34 when we started this series. So again, keep pushing through. Listen to the first video, which talks about the plateau of latent potential, and specifically the valley of disappointment, which we all have to go through, right? Especially if we're still looking for our first breakthrough. So that's what the series is about. Want to encourage you to, keep fighting. If you failed and you're thinking about getting back in the game, don't give up. Keep fighting. Throw your hat back in the ring, right? You may be down, but you're not out. The final chapter has not been written. You can do this. You may fail again, and that's okay, right? Want to encourage you to keep doing that. So before we get started, again, hit the thumbs up, click the alert button, and click the subscribe button. We'd appreciate it. And we're covering Albert Einstein. And I think that we all know Albert Einstein from his scientific achievements, or being called an Einstein after you say something dumb or do something dumb. So anyway, I again want to be positive on this channel, but I also like to have a sense of humor. So, Albert Einstein was born in Ulm, Kingdom of Württemberg, Germany, on March 14th, 1879. And although he was Jewish, he actually attended and was Catholic educated from the age of 5 to 8, and then transferred to Luitpold Gymnasium, where he finished his secondary education. Again, we know that he excelled in math and science in his later years, but in his early years, he also excelled in math and physics. At the age of 13, he was more interested actually in philosophy and music than he was in physics or math. So that's an interesting note there. I think that in athletics, a lot of times you see, I think it's good for people to be multi-sport, athletes, and I think the same thing in disciplines. I think that it stimulates different areas of your brain, and if you have different interests, and you actually are active in those, so not just a one-trick pony. So just something to think about, right? I've tried many things myself and have many different interests and hobbies, and I think that's okay, right? All right, so let's talk about the failure, if you will, right? Before attending Luitpold, Einstein, attended the Swiss Federal Polytechnic School in Zurich, where he failed actually the general section on the entrance exam, but did awesome on the math and physics sections, right? Which we already knew that he had that potential. They didn't back then, but I guess it was enough to give him the opportunity. Again, but the advisors there encouraged him to transfer to Luitpold Gymnasium there. By the way, that school is renamed Albert Einstein Gymnasium, and it's not just like we think about gymnasiums here. But he did not have a very a good reputation as a student. In fact, it was terrible from all accounts, and had a terrible reputation with his teachers as a student, and it's because he skipped class and didn't take his studies seriously. And so, and he did so poorly in school that he actually dropped out to sell life insurance. I think it's interesting that I've sold life insurance before as a sales manager. Colonel Sanders sold life insurance. There's several people that ended up going the way of life insurance salesmen, and then we have Albert Einstein here as well. So he ended up also after that taking a job as a patent clerk, which is where he had to review patent applications, and there's a lot of statistical and mathematical equations in those patent applications. And so I think that's really that's where he kind of fell in love again with math and physics, and that's where what really kind of spurred him on to start writing his papers where he claimed got his critical acclaim. So the successes, obviously, we all know about those, most of these things, and I'll let you guys again do your due diligence on him afterwards. But he wrote those papers for physics and science. Some of them are thermodynamic fluctuations and statistical physics, the theory of critical opalescence, the theory of relativity, wormholes, and many other papers and breakthroughs that are still the foundations for physics today, right? And so he was also famously or infamously credited with his work on the atomic bomb, right, which helped end World War II when we were fighting against the Nazis, and the majority of the world was at the time. So he was also awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1921. So the story being here is don't give up. And secondly, education doesn't necessarily define your ability or how smart you are. And Albert Einstein is that person and that example. Not that you shouldn't try and do well and encourage your kids or people around you to do well academically, but it doesn't necessarily define how smart you are. There's book smarts and street smarts and science smarts, as Einstein has just proven here. So anyway, interesting about him. And again, I want to thank you for joining me on this video today. And again, I hope you're finding encouragement for these. Keep fighting. Don't give up. Like I keep mentioning, the final chapter has not been written on you. And so even if you failed or in the process of failing, it's not the end chapter, right? You can keep fighting and keep on going. So I want to encourage you. Do me a favor before we go, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, and hit the alert button, and we will talk to you on the next video.